Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it was sent to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So I was once married to this other guy who was from Zim, and things that are happening in this world, it is really strange because this guy, the first time that I saw him, and for a very long time, he only changed, like from being a traditional healer, he is now a pastor. This guy, he has done everything that is under the sun. When we had our third child, that was when he said that he wanted to become a pastor, and at that time, me and him, we had like gotten over each other. So this guy, when I met him, he was like new in our community, and he was doing plumbing. It then happened that my mom had a problem with her geyser. She had called several guys to come and fix the geyser, but it kept on breaking down until I spoke with this guy and I asked him like his prices, and after he had given me his quotations, he kept on speaking with me and he was like, I can do this for you like for free. And I was like, if you do it for free, then what am I supposed to give you? That was when he said that he wanted us to date, but not like just dating regularly. He wanted us to have like a strong bond, a relationship. He wanted to get married to me. So I was really scared because this guy, he was already married. I knew his wife. So I was like, what about your wife? I do not want your wife to bewitch me. But he promised me, and he said that the advantage of dating someone who knows a lot of charms, there is no one that is going to bewitch you. Then in our own home, originally, there was one of my auntie. We were always scared of her. We were even suspicious, like the way that my father passed away. We were thinking that my auntie, she was the one who did something to my father, because my father was given slow poison, and by the time that he passed away, his legs, they were really swollen and he was unable to drive. So when this guy said that if I date him, he was going to protect me, I then spoke with him about my father's issue, the way that he had passed away. We started talking and talking until eventually I started thinking like I was now falling in love with this guy. It was really sweet. So when I was thinking about him on that night, when I had talked So when I had been thinking about him, there was this other night after we had spoken, when I went to bed. So I was like, tomorrow I am going to call him so that I can spend some time with him. When I went to bed, my brother, for the first time in many years after my father had passed away, that was when I saw him in my dreams. After my father had passed away, my sisters and my brothers, they used to say that they would see our father in their dreams, like he would be showing them some dangers that would be coming to them. But as for me, it was just quiet. I would even question myself, like maybe I am not his child. But on that night, when I was fast asleep, I saw him in my dreams. The dream, my brother, that I had was like, I saw my father, and it was me and this guy. First, we were crossing this other river. It was like me and that guy, we were leaving my country and we were going to his country just to pay a visit. But he said that there is no bridge, there is no way where we can cross this river, and the river had a lot of water. The only way was for us to swim across the river. After we had swam across the river, and it was like dark, really dark in color, the water, it was not clear. Then when we reached the other side of the river, when I looked back, I then saw my father. He was just standing and he was not happy with what I had done. When I tried like to swim back, I was really exhausted, and there was a force that was holding me and I could not get into the water again. Then I just woke up. So when I woke up, I could not even understand what was going on, and the mistake that I was doing was that any dream that I was having, because of that issue of me suspecting our auntie that she is the one who bewitched my father. So that guy, he had said that any dream that you have, I want you to tell me each and every dream that you have. So the next morning, I then told him that I wanted to see him, to be with him, but this is the scary dream that I had. He then gave me a lot of explanations, and he said that my father was there to protect us, because when you have a dream and when you see that the water is dark, it is not a good thing, but it was a good thing that the spirit of my father was looking at us. And I said, why was my father angry? And he said that sometimes when you see someone that has passed away in your dreams, when they are angry, it is because they are happy or they are fighting for you. He confused me a lot. Then this guy, I think that was when he started bewitching me. He kept on giving me a lot of stuff. Like on that night when he came to my house, I still remember that he came with this other t-shirt. It was a dirty t-shirt, and he made me to wear that t-shirt. I said, but let me wash it first. I know that you want to give me this t-shirt, but at least let me wash it first, because it was like smelly. You know, guys that work in construction, that will be sweating throughout the day. But he insisted that he wanted to see how this t-shirt was going to look on my body. So before we had gone to bed, I was wearing that t-shirt, and I just sprayed it just a little bit so that the smell can be bearable. But after that, my brother, most of the things that this guy would make me to do, I do not even remember. I was just a yes woman. If he would say that tonight I want to see you, tonight I want you to do this for me, I'll just say yes. And ever since I started dating that guy, I never wanted to be with another man. Previously, I was like dating two guys at the same time. But when I was with him, you know, I was scared of him. When I would go to town and when he would ask me, what time am I coming back? If I would tell him that by 1 p.m. I'll be back, and if I would not be back if you would ask me what time I will be back, and if I would tell him that only 2 hours I will be back, then when it will be around maybe an hour when I am in town, even when I would have not finished what I am doing, I'll go straight to the taxis. My heart will start beating very fast, scared of him. He was not a violent guy, but his charms were the ones that were making me to be scared of him. And the way that I was behaving, that was the way that his wife was behaving as well, because when the wife found me and him in their bed, the wife did not complain or do anything. She just sat there and asked her husband what she wanted to be cooked for supper. So this was surprising to me. What then happened is that the same dream that I had at that time when I saw my father, this is what ended up happening. After I had given birth to our first child, the guy said that we were supposed to return to Zim so as to meet his relatives, and he wanted to introduce like my child to his mother. So we then went to Zim, but when we arrived there at the border, we then went through the river. We crossed the Limpopo River through the bushes, just like what I saw in my dreams. Once we were in Zim, I struggled so much to return back to my country, because this guy, he was like, I do not want you to get stolen from me. I want you to be with me all the times, and I want to start like my own small business. He said that he wanted to do some consultation with his customers, but I was like, no, I want to return back home. By the time that we returned back home, there was a lot of cracks in our relationship. We were always fighting. I think that maybe like God's spirit, it was also fighting for me, because there were things that he would do, like, and I will see that these things that he is making me to do, they are not okay at all. Like, for instance, he made me to go and take a car like in my name, but I was not allowed to drive that car. I had a license when I had met this guy, even though I didn't have a car. But then this guy said, let us go and take out a car, and he was paying for that car. But until me and that guy broke up, he never allowed me to drive my own car that was in my own name. They said that since he was paying and he was the man of the house, he was very traditional in all of his ways. After we had our second child, I saw that he was no longer doing like that traditional stuff. He kept on saying that he was no longer getting customers like the way that he was getting them. And he said that he wanted to start a church. When he said that he wanted to start a church, I laughed very hard. I still remember on that day that it was very hot, and we were sitting underneath this other tree at my mom's place. That was when he said that he wanted to start a church. So it was funny to me because this guy, he was like a full traditional healer. Now he wanted a church so that he can get some customers. Within a couple of weeks, my brother, he was already having a church. But you know, those churches whereby they wear those white garments, I was made to go to that church, and his wife was attending at that same church, but she never fought with me. She never asked me why I was dating her husband. She was always quiet. Shame. I feel so sorry for that woman because of the things that her husband did to her. It is like the husband just removed her brain. She is just like a person walking around without having any brains at all. This is what this guy wanted to happen to me. I was under his spell, and this guy, my brother, he never felt mercy for me. When I say that I had 3 kids with this guy, I had these three kids in 3 years. The first year I had my child, then the following year, just when my kid was about to be 1 year, that was when I had another child. After that, I had another child. So all of my kids, they just look like triplets. And just like what he did to his own wife, the wife had 5 kids. And they are all like, you know, they are just like twins. They were just born one after the other. He never gave me rest. And the reason he said that he didn't want me to give me rest, he said that you are too beautiful, and I know that the way that you are beautiful, you'll end up running from me. So he said that if we have a lot of children together, then you are not going to run away from me. So this is the reason as to why he made me to fall pregnant. After another pregnancy, there will be another pregnancy. And I tried, my brother, to block him, like to take some family planning pill without him knowing that this is what I was doing. But this guy, he used to drink a lot of herbs, and without even realizing it, I was already pregnant soon after giving birth. That is how I gave birth to my 3 kids. It then happened that me and him, we started fighting, even though we had been fighting for a very long time. At that time when we were fighting, I then told my mom that I didn't want this relationship anymore. So my mom said, what are you going to do? But he's taking good care of you. But I was no longer in that relationship. Like spiritually, I was feeling that there was something that was wrong. This man, the way that I was loving him, it was not a natural love, you know. When I'll be at work, I would even end up crying. Like a thought will cross my mind, and I will say, what am I going to do if this man is going to dump me? Even like when we just had a small fight, throughout the day, I would struggle to eat. I'll keep on asking myself, so will I be able to survive if this man is going to dump me? Then I'll start crying. So then at work one day, there was one of my workmates who caught me crying, and she asked me why I was crying. And I said, I do not even understand the way that I love my husband, the way that I love him, the way that I am afraid of him dumping me. I am just afraid that he's going to dump me. Then she said that, you know, when you love someone, there is a space in your heart whereby you say you don't care about that person, even if you love them. But the way that you are speaking, the way that you are telling me your story, it is like this man, he gave you Korobela. So my brother, when she said that, my heart started skipping really fast, and I said, maybe this man, he gave me a love potion. So when I returned back home, I spoke with my mom and I asked her to pray for me. She prayed for me, my brother. Then I started like shaking very hard and I was crying. My mom said that this thing that had happened, it was like there was a demon that was inside my body, but my mom, she was not that powerful to pray for me enough. She then said, okay, let us go to the pastor's house. We went to the pastor's house, even though it was late at night, and we had to walk, mind you, even though I had a car, but we had to walk for a very long distance. Then we went to the pastor's house. When we arrived at the pastor's house, just when the pastor touched my head, when he started praying, like casting out the demon that was inside my body, I started screaming that there was fire that was burning me. I said, there is fire that is burning me. There is fire that is burning me. Then the pastor continued praying. They prayed for me for a very long time, my brother. By the time that they said that I was okay, I was feeling exhausted. But from there on, I then started asking my mom where I was. So everyone was shocked. Then that was when we realized that this guy, he had been giving me a lot of charms, like to make sure that I would never ask him a lot of questions, like what he was doing with my money. I would never ask him a lot of questions. If he was sleeping around, I will just cry, not be hurt, but just to cry, like what is going to happen if he is going to marry another wife after getting married to him. So after this, my brother, I then said, I do not want to be in this relationship anymore. That is how I ended up breaking up with this man. So I got separated from this man for a very long time, but that love, it started growing again in my heart, and I went and I stayed with him. At that time when I stayed with him, that was when he said that he was a changed man. He had thrown away all of the charms. In fact, he was going back to Zim, to a Bible school. Right now he is a pastor, but I don't know if it is the truth that he told me when he said that he threw away all of the charms that he was using in his church and when he was a traditional healer. Oh, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me as an email by one of our admins. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section.